So recently I spoke about basically using the shit coins, PopCat and Book of Meme to understand what Bitcoin is doing, sort of looking at what their potential patterns will be. Now, my understanding is those meme coins are bearish, but regardless of that, I still had this count which turned out to be at the moment accurate. Okay, at the moment seems to be accurate, but there's a lot more to this count. I've been doing a bit of background work on this count. Now, trying to understand this pattern is pretty hard. I must admit, for a five wave move, this thing is interesting to say the least. I definitely don't think that Bitcoin is going to crash to zero. I don't think that this particular pattern indicates complete bearishness. But there are some things that I want to talk about that may sort of shine a couple of options on the chart. So this particular count that I went on to actually go short at this high here, right, is based on a count that is bearish. It's a five wave move down, right? Now, if this is the case, wave three is underway. Now, wave three uh, so far has found support at the 1000 period moving average. But that doesn't mean that it's stopping there. Just because it's sort of resting on it, right? It doesn't mean it's going to bounce. It doesn't mean that, especially if this count is accurate. A 1, A, B, C, D, E for 2 and 3. And the reason for that is because, well, you have 1, 2, 1, and another 2 forming. There are only two patterns a market makes. I have to keep reminding you of this in case you don't know. It's a five wave move and a zigzag. Now, this is not a completed five wave move, not by any stretch of the imagination, and nor is it a zigzag because wave C is way longer than wave A. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And even if it was a five wave move, a weak one, you still need wave 5 down. Okay? So, why would wave 5 continue below such a massive support level? This is a 1000 period moving average. It's not a 200. It's not a 100 or a 50. Yes, it's the hourly chart. And I could show you a 1000 period on a 4-hour chart, which might even make you realize that, well, hang on a minute. It broke the 200 period moving average on the hourly and it closed below it. So that gives you even more reason to think that potentially we could be looking at prices coming back down to at least 47,000, right? Now, for what? For what? For a wave 2 potentially, right? Just ignore that E. Because if we had five wave moves like a five wave move up, right? Which, mind you, it's questionable at best if it is a five wave move up, right? This count tells me that yes, we had five waves up. And then to go higher, we need a correction, right? A correction that basically brings this back in a mean reversion kind of way to correct before it's just shoots higher, right? Because once price gets too far away from the 1000 period, it kind of mean reverts, right? I've seen this many times and it's pretty obvious that you can't go up in a straight line, right? Just look at other coins. They're all kind of, in a bit of a like, what the hell's going on type situation. But for now, I'm not taking this trade mega seriously. Like you should never take any trade mega seriously, right? You should never get too emotionally involved in a trade. You should always risk it, very low amounts when you trade, because otherwise you will literally blow up your account. And you know, there's a good way to sort of measure your performance is over 20 trades, right? 20 trade way of measuring your performance is not a bad way because you don't focus on one trade, which means you've got to last more than 20 trades to know if you're good at 20 trades, right? So yeah, you might lose two, win three more, and then lose five, win win five, right? The point is that you know your risk reward should always be the number one priority, but your you know the amount that you risk on a trade should always be so that you know that you're going to last more than 20 trades, right? 20, the number 20. Can you last 20 trades with the trade you have on right now if you lose? It's a very important question. I think that it's one of the most important questions, and you need to ask it to yourself. If you're trading leverage, um, so look, we hit the all-time high and we started to get a bit choppy. I'm telling you, there's a potential of a five-way move down. It doesn't mean that it's going to be a five-way move that goes directly down and breaks this level here, right? But I'm going to give you a count now that's a large account that kind of says, you know what? We are in actually a different kind of count that I originally thought. You know, we are in wave five, right? We're in wave five of a five, fifth of a fifth wave, right? This particular count suggests, sorry, this is wrong. This particular wave, this is okay. So the recent count suggests that basically down here, 2019, 18, 19, whatever, that was a complete correction, a completed like an A B C D E lies in here, right? And it's basically like one, two, three, four, five. Okay. So this is the kind of thing that I'm looking at now. I'm really starting to think that this is what's going on, right? And the reason for that is, well, obviously there's a five-wave move here, right? I can tell, I can try to wrangle it to A, B, C, D, but something does not seem right about that particular count. It just doesn't. It doesn't fit well. It doesn't sit well. It just doesn't look right. But what does look right is a weak five-wave move, and you can tell quite easily, right? Because you had a wave one, a three, and a weak ass looking five, right? Now you've got to compare these, right? You got to say, okay, wave one was pretty sharp. Wave three, well, that was obviously a bounce from Corona, and then you had five, which is, you know, like this is like ETF, institutional, and a whole bunch of morons investing in this ETF, right? It's, I mean, seriously, we had record outflows of out of the ETF. We had, and then we have days of record inflows of the ETF, and I don't believe the news. So I don't know whether you see these headlines. I don't believe anything. I don't believe that shit, right? All I can see is that yes, based on the waves, if this is a wave five, well, no rules are broken. Wave four never went into the price territory of wave one. Now that's an Elliott wave thing. I don't do Elliott wave. But that particular rule here for this particular instance, well, there's nothing broken there. And it kind of explains a lot of altcoins and what happened here. So technically, in some capacity, it might suggest that we might see another all-time high in altcoins. So this is why, like, I'm opening up the ideas to that potential. But we've got to take it easy. We've got to take it slow, right? I'm not going to just come out tomorrow and start posting altcoin ideas suggesting there's one more all-time high and it's a wave five, right? We need to see a little bit of evidence for that before we jump the gun, okay? So where is critical support right now? Well, it's about 24,000, 25,000 roughly, right? I started to take a look at this pattern down here, right? And I look at the total market cap, etc. This particular high here went above the previous high, but on the total market cap, it didn't do that, right? And you got to think about all this stuff when you're looking at the waves. Well, hang on. How could the total market cap not make a new high here? That can't be the previous thought, analysis that I had. And over time, it's kind of just weighed on me a little. I go, you know what? You probably got it wrong again. So this is probably just a 1, 2, 3, right? To some degree, a 4, and then the 5, right? Now that could be completed if somehow we break 25,000 level, right? If we just happen to in the next few months or something, right? Then I would say this is a complete top of Bitcoin. And then we need to see a correction, a proper correction, which could be basically taking a while, right? Now, in saying that, what about if wave 5 extends, right? So we had a 1, 2, 3, right? And, you know, okay, all right, maybe 5 extends, right? It wouldn't look right at all if it did, but if it did, you'd need to see some kind of correction, and you wouldn't be able to break 38,000 level because then kind of wave 5 is over, right? Because wave 5 has begun at this point, and if it breaks the start of the 5 wave move, or the what is there, a wave like like a wave 6 correction and a wave 7 move up, there's no such thing, right? So the other thing I want to mention on this as well, right? Apart from all the lovely wave counts that I, propose here, right? And yeah, we did have a crossover. We did have a crossover, yeah, right. But crossovers can happen and get reversed. I don't believe in solely using moving averages to trade, especially daily ones, right? Because they are, especially 200 and 1000, they are very delayed type of moves, right? 5100 is a bit faster. Sure, you could use that. The point I want to make here is, let's just say, for example, okay, we got rid of the 1000, not get rid of it, but let's say we bring the relative strength, right? Let's go to the weekly chart, right? On the weekly chart, does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stand up to that idea? And the truth is, it does, right? Wave 3 should always be the strongest on the RSI, right? So not only are we talking about characteristic of the wave, does it look strong? But we're also talking about 5 wave moves. When wave 3 is the strongest, wave 5 went and made a new high, but it didn't register as a new high on the RSI, right? And it's starting to come down and break below the 14 period moving average on the RSI. So it's actually bearish on the RSI now, but it's also divergence. Divergence is in price went higher, RSI didn't, right? That's divergence. So not just looking at the waves, looking at the total potential for this to be a fifth of a fifth move. Well, you've got two options here. And I would only give you the one that is the most bullish. So therefore, we need to see a complete correction. A complete correction. And I could only say that this price will come back down to break the beginning of the whole move, right? But like I said, we could move higher, but there's certain things that we need to look for in order for that to happen. Now, looking at the stock market lately, I don't think that's very probable. I don't think that Bitcoin will continue up when the stock market's moving down. I believe the stock market will turn soon. Not the top, no, not the top, but you know, I'm pretty sure that the stock market tops after cryptos does. Cryptos tend to top before, right? So, okay, so that one might indicate something different. But this, for a 5 wave move, right? Look at wave one, strong. Wave three, stronger, sharper almost. Wave five, not so much. Okay, not so much. Right, just take a look at yourself. Right, have a look at that. Have a look at the RSI. I reckon that we're going to see a pullback. Right, and I believe that that pullback has already started. Okay, like I've mentioned to you already. Now, I will cover more on this soon. I will cover it more. But for now, I would expect price to break this low down here, right? This particular low will kind of confirm, right? This one here, about 60,500 roughly. This will kind of confirm, especially if it breaks down in a fairly aggressive manner, a lot sharper, well, a lot longer than the last move that broke below the 200 period. We need to see something like equal. Even if you come back to retest the 200 on the 4 hour, that's fine. But something that kind of moves down and breaks this level in a sharp way, not in a really choppy way, right? I believe this is just going to basically start telling us, hey, well, hang on a minute. I think that something's reversing, right? If it breaks this level down here, 38,000, it's probably topping out. The confirmation of a top will definitely come at 25,000, right? Because if price gets to 25,000, it's probably going to break that low, right? And if it happens in a sharper manner than it did going up, then this whole move since 2008, since it came out, is probably done, and you're going to go into a wave two, right? Now, wave twos don't always have to be lengthy, right? But they can be deep and sharp, or they can be lengthy and chop out for ages going sideways in this range. Too early to tell. We need to see a 5 wave move in order to have any kind of gauge on this. But I thought I'd just give you my latest view on this because at the moment, this doesn't look too good, right? It's not looking too good at all. So those levels will kind of, confirm a few more things. But I'm just waiting. I shorted this when I said I would back in that PopCat book of meme video that some people started asking, oh, so you're covering shit coins now? And it's like, not really. I'm just sort of trying to get a bit of a feel for something that I'm already doing, which is shorting Bitcoin, right? Because a lot of people don't do that, don't short Bitcoin. They just don't understand how to do it. But I tried to lay out the waves all along. We saw a bit of a move that kind of suggested that that would be the case. And I just quickly cover off something that one of my members said in the last 30 seconds that I have left. What about if we have a bullish count? Well, if we had an A, B, C, this can't be a D because you had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A zigzag could have been a D, E, but except that's not a 5-wave move right there. So this here coming back down below this level here would invalidate that idea completely anyway. So there's no bullish count at the moment. All right, that's all I got for now. Thanks for watching.